The boxing world is divided as David Benavidez's latest move sparks intense debate. Does it represent a chase for greatness or a strategic escape from danger? While his decision to step up to cruiserweight to face Gilberto Zurdo, Ramirez on Cinco De Mayo weekend looks like a perfect blockbuster, complete with a historic opportunity to become a 3D Vision world champion. Promoter Eddie Hearn has cast doubt on the true intent behind the matchup, suggesting it may be less about legacy and more about avoiding the one opponent capable of threatening Benavidez's reign.
Fight, but what about the one he's calling for? I'm not familiar with him at 200 pounds.
Zurdo?
Yeah, Zurdo. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good fight. He's been talking about that. He told me about that a couple years ago when I went to see him in Miami. So yeah, I mean, he's been having his eyes on him for a minute.
What you think about Zurdo?
Yeah, I think he could take him. That's the best fight too, because Zurdo started at 160, so he's not a natural cruiserweight.
Let's look at the facts, because this deal is still fresh. David Benavidez has officially confirmed he is stepping away from the light heavyweight division, at least for now. Following his dominant 7th-round stoppage of Anthony Yarde in Saudi Arabia just last month, it became clear that Benavidez is outgrowing the weight class. He looked physically imposing. His power was overwhelming. And the way he relentlessly pressured a proven puncher like Yarde sent a clear message to the entire boxing world.
I said Benavidez is going to have that performance that gets him right back where everybody was just simply loving the dude. This is before he became the monster. And everybody was truly loving everything that Benavidez was bringing. And I really did feel like he brought out that David Benavidez on fight night.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. When David Benavidez is who he is, bro. You already know he's gonna come with, and I just don't know. When I watch Anthony Yarde fight, yeah, he has certain good techniques about him, and he can be tough and whatnot. But it's his mental that for me that I feel like is not strong enough to be on a certain level. You know what I'm saying? When he goes against a certain guy.
Well, and, he did just the energy. He did the same thing in this fight that he did against Benavidez.
Yes.
For 2 rounds.
Yeah.
It's like just, it's his best Floyd Mayweather look, and he's stabbing the body, and it's working. And then the best way I could put it is he gets cute.
Yeah.
It's like what you're doing is working a little bit. You're keeping it tight. You're boxing smart. And then he did the same thing against Benavidez, and then whatever momentum he was building fumbles, and then it's a wrap.
Yeah.
But actually, he did have a moment. This is where I got to give Benavidez credit right away. He beat him better than anybody else did. Kovalev got to deep waters with him. Benavidez, he got hurt by a right hand in the 6th round. There was no real scary. I mean, he was boxing him good early, but outside of that, it was all David.
Yeah.
But instead of remaining at 175 pounds to pursue potential unification bouts, Benavidez is choosing to dive straight into the deep waters of the cruiserweight division at 200 pounds. Interview 4, the date is set for May 2nd, 2026. With Las Vegas as the stage and Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez's WBA and WBO cruiserweight world titles on the line, this is no tune-up fight. It's a direct assault on the top of the division. Benavidez made his intentions clear in his post-fight.
Maybe coming a bit sooner than people would have thought, but why now? Why do you feel like this is the correct fight for you?
Because there was no other opportunities. You know what I mean? I could have stayed down here. I could have fought somebody, maybe Callum Smith. You know what I mean? But I feel like I owe it to myself to go after the biggest opportunities myself, and that's also going to push me to work even harder. I mean, I'm not going to say Callum Smith is not something that excites me. Callum Smith is a great fighter, but something that's really going to push me to the limit is going up in weight and fighting Zurdo Ramirez. They were interested in it. We made the deal, and we made it happen, and that's going to happen May 2nd, T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas.
That fight's all signed, sealed, and
it was signed. We signed it this week, or earlier in the week, so it's signed.
Ask who's the promoter for that event?
I don't know yet, but it was a sign for me and him. PBC, maybe Ring Magazine could get involved in it.
Confidently declaring, "I beat Zurdo," a bold prediction made 5 months before the opening bell. It's the kind of aggressive confidence fans expect from Benavidez, but the timing of this announcement is where the situation begins to raise questions.
Zurdo, you know what I mean? It's not going to be easy. I'm going to work extremely hard, and none of these fights are going to be easy. From now on and for the next 10 years, there's not going to be no easy fights, but I'm working harder and harder. I put together a good, I don't know what the word is, but I have a good training for myself. I have a good regimen for myself. So I'm just getting better. I'm learning more workouts, and I'm stronger and stronger every single day.
Undisputed at cruiser, or will you come back down to light heavy after?
I want to come down after after cruiser, and but whatever, we'll see what.
This is where the story gets interesting. and where you have to read between the lines. Until very recently, Zurdo Ramirez wasn't available for a May fight, as he was contractually scheduled to defend his titles against Robin Safar on January 16th. That bout was locked in, until reports suddenly emerged that the Safar fight had been scrapped, with an injury cited as the official reason. Injuries are common in boxing, but the timing of this cancellation is almost too perfect to ignore.
Robin Safar has a hand injury, and Zurdo can relate because he's just coming off a hand injury as well after satisfying his WBA mandatory with Junior Dorticos, right, in his last fight out. So now Robin Safar suffered a hand injury. So the bad news is that Zurdo won't be able to test his newly surgical his recovered hand from the surgical procedure that he had to have, right? So we're not sure how he's gonna look. So he hasn't had a chance to really test it out yet. So that's the bad news, because and obviously he doesn't get a fight to stay busy and stay active, right? So that's the bad news. But by
canceling the January title defense, Zurdo Ramirez's schedule was suddenly wide open for a lucrative Cinco De Mayo payday. Had the Safar fight gone ahead, a quick turnaround for May would have been risky, especially if Ramirez had suffered damage or a cut. With Safar out of the picture, the path to Benavidez became clear. Critics and insiders are already questioning whether the injury was legitimate or a strategic business decision designed to protect the far bigger, more profitable matchup with Benavidez. In the high-stakes world of boxing, coincidences like this are rarely accidental.
Up to cruiserweight, and I know he believes he can get back down to light heavyweight, but I don't know if he could really do that. You think Roy Jones going from 200 back to 75 and how that worked out. But he got ducked at 68 by Canelo. It's not fair to call Bivol a duck, but he did vacate the title rather than defend it. WBC has ridiculously inconsistent standards. They let Canelo hold on to the belt and not fight Benavidez for 3 or 4 years. 2 months after beating Beterbiev, they stripped Bivol. So, I want to provide that context for Bivol, but I would have preferred he defended the title. It's just a shame that an elite fighter who's so fun to watch may never get to fight the best in his first at 68 and 75, and now
fans hype the fight. Promoter Eddie Hearn sees a different picture. He called Benavidez versus Ramirez a toss-up, but was clear about Jai Apatea, saying, "I don't think he beats Apatea." This suggests Benavidez's team chose a path to titles while avoiding a much tougher matchup.
All becoming a moot point because it sounds like he's going to fight Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez at Cruz. The problem is the Opataya fight has substance. For a purist, that would prove a lot to move up to cruiserweight and beat Opataya. But in the general sense, nobody knows who Opataya is. And the cruiserweight division, nobody ever cares. Whether it's Evander Holyfield, Alexander Usyk, those are two of the greatest fighters ever. David Haye made a big name for himself becoming cruiserweight champion in England, but all the question is when are you going to go up to heavyweight and fight Vladimir Klitschko? Maybe Jim Lampley's onto something, because the first time Jim got to see Benavidez, it was one of the first fights he had been to in over a half decade. He on PPV.com, he called Benavidez and Boo Boo Andrade, and right away he goes, he's going to be a heavyweight one day after he saw that knockout. And I'm like, chill, Jim. Like, it's your first time in a while. You're excited. It's Benavidez. Benavidez is dope. Heavyweight, I don't know. Maybe Jim was right all along and he will go to heavyweight at some point, because I don't know if he can get back down to light heavyweight. And if he can't, that's a fucking shame that he may have been the best fighter at 68 and 75 and never got to prove it. He did grow out of this.
Pataya is the man to beat. Why not challenge him? The answer is simple: business. Hearn supports the fight not because it crowns the undisputed best cruiserweight, but because two Mexicans facing off in Las Vegas on Cinco de Mayo.
It's after popularity or fame. Like, Jai Patel doesn't come across to me as a guy that wants popularity or wants to be famous. Yeah, when Jai Patel is looking at Zurdo Ramirez, he's just seen the belt. He's just seen the WBO and the WBA belts. That's all Jai Patel, that's all he's seeing. He doesn't care whether it's Zurdo Ramirez with them belts, Mike Tyson with them belts, Lennox Lewis with them belts, Usyk with them belts. He really doesn't care. Benavidez with them belts. Jai Patel don't give a damn who's got them belts. He's after the belt. That's something that our brother Zurdo Ramirez doesn't understand. He thinks Jai Patel has a personal beef with him. It's not personal at all. You're just in the way of his dreams. You're in the way of his goals. He wants to smash you, yeah? Smash you up and take the belt, mate. He wants the belt. He wants to unify the division. He wants to become undisputed in the cruiserweight division, make history for his nation, for his people, yeah, and then move up to the heavyweight division. It's not a personal beef. He doesn't want to be famous. He doesn't want to be recognized around the way. He don't care about all that. You got it all twisted.
Is a guaranteed moneymaker selling out arenas, generating huge pay-per-view numbers, and tapping into a deep cultural rivalry that drives massive fan engagement.